And welcome to another episode of the Tar Heels Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Grant Chachere, the lead beat writer for North Carolina Tar Heels on SI. And of course, I always bring you the latest news and updates in regards to your North Carolina Tar Heels. Of course, I think we all heard the news last night, reported on it as soon as it came out. But Seth Trimble, of course, we all know Seth, 4-year guy at North Carolina. Very, very rare these days. And he will be out for the foreseeable future due to a broken bone in his forearm. So he's going to be in a sling for, maybe not a sling, but he's going to be in a cast for quite some time. We don't have the exact timetable yet. UNC hasn't said anything to us in regards to how long he's going to be out, but he will be out for at least a month, in my opinion. I couldn't tell you what the exact timetable for that is, so he's gonna be out for a little bit. He's gonna be out for a little bit, maybe like a month or two. So he will definitely miss the rest of the non-conference schedule. That I can tell you that right now. So he will definitely miss Kentucky. He'll definitely miss Michigan State. Then he'll miss Kentucky. He'll miss Ohio State probably. So he's gonna be out for a good little bit. Hopefully he'll get back by the time conference play starts. But that's not a given. That this is a huge loss for North Carolina. Of course, he's the leader of the team. He's been playing some great basketball as of late. The last game, he had 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. Bill Self, of course, the head coach in Kansas, said that he blanketed Darren Peterson. I mean, yes, Darren Peterson scored 22 points on 8 of 14 shooting, but it was a quiet 22-point performance. And a lot of credit needs to go to Seth Trimble. I mean, not only can Seth do stuff offensively and, of course, on the glass, but he's also one of the better defenders, not only in the SEC, but around the country. Also, keep this in mind, there's also a 3-inch difference between Darren Peterson and Seth Trimble. Seth Trimble is a solid 6'3", with shoes on. And Darren Peterson, of course, is 6'5", 6'6". So, huge height difference, but Seth Trimble was able to slow him down. So, if you're UNC, what do you do? What do you do in this situation, right? So, Seth Trimble's out, right? So, you still have Kai Nevins. Kai Nevins still going to be the point, blah, blah, blah. So, if that's the case, then I think Luka will go to the 2, and I think they will bring they'll bring Jaron Stevenson off the bench. I think you could go with that. I think you could also do it. There could be a scenario where you have Jonathan Powell start at the 3 and Luka start at the 2. I mean, there's many different things you can do there. And I think the good thing is about Seth Trimble's injury is that at least you have a deep backcourt, right? Derek Dixon has been getting some good minutes, like 6-7 minutes per game, but his minutes are going to increase because of Seth Trimble's injury. But if you look at the Central Arkansas game too, you also have Jaden Young, right? Jaden Young is going to get some more minutes, so expect to see him. So, you still have, of course, Luka Bogovac. You still have Kyan Evans. You still have Jonathan Powell, who is a kind of a combo guard. He could do the 2 or the 3. You have Jaden Young, as I mentioned, Derek Dixon as well. So, I mean, there's still a lot of guys you could use there. And the good thing about the 3 is that you could use Jaron Stevenson. You can mix it around a lot. So that's the kind of the good thing about Seth Trimble's injury. Yes, you want him to have him on the court because of what he can do. But in terms of depth, you don't really have to worry about that because North Carolina did a very good job of getting guys out of the portal that are very versatile, that can do it all. So I think that's the good thing about Seth Trimble's injuries, that you still have the depth needed to compete for a long period of time. And of course, good thing about Seth's injury is that it's not season ending. So he's just going to be out for a month or two, if that. It wasn't a serious injury, but it's serious enough where he's probably going to have to sit out for a decent bit of time. And Now, here's another question. If you're UNC, like, what do you do about the bigs? Because Jaron Stevenson, there's a hypothetical case that Jaron Stevenson could be moved to the 3, right? And then Luka Bogovic goes to the 2. Kind of similar to what they were doing in the 2 preseason skirmishes where you had the 2 preseason games where you had Seth at you had Kyan at the 1, Seth at the 2, Jaron Stevenson at the 3, Caleb at the 4, and Henry Vassar at the 5. So, so you're bringing in Jaron Stevenson. So Jaron Stevenson comes in, that lowers the depth in your front court. So, and to kind of give you an idea what the minute numbers look like, Derek Dixon played 16 minutes, Jonathan Powell played 15 minutes, Jaden Young played 8 minutes, and that was all in the BYU game. This is before Luka was eligible to play. So that kind of gives you a good idea. The next 2 guys are Zane High and James Brown, right? And the guy I think who's going to be the first off the bench in terms of the bigs is Zane High. But Zane High didn't really play that well against BYU. He only played 4 minutes, did not have a rebound, did not score a single basket, did not score did not gain a rebound, and he also had a personal foul and 3 turnovers in 4 minutes of play, right? Then you go to the Winston-Salem State game. Yes, he scored a basket and he had 7 rebounds and had 8 points, but those 8 points mostly came up for free throws. He shot 1 of 2 from the field, and he also had 7 rebounds. But it's against Central Arkansas, Zane High, in 11 minutes, over 3, 4 rebounds, and he let me read this right. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a turnover. He did have a plus minus of 6. So I mean, he did decent against Central Arkansas. So, and the good thing about and I'll say this was about Zane High. Yes, he hasn't played all that well, but remember, he also hasn't played in 2 years, right? First year he didn't play that much. Second year was dealing with the off the court stuff. So this is a good opportunity for him to get more minutes, and I'm going to assume he's going to get more minutes because Jaron Stevenson, I think, would move to the 3. Just that's what I'm thinking right now. But there's so many, and that's the thing. There's so many possibilities with this lineup that you can use. So many different mixes and variations of the lineup you can use because of how versatile it is. But I'm going to assume Zane High is going to get more minutes. He needs as much game time as possible because they're going to need him eventually in terms of depth in the front court, because you can't do what you did against Kansas where Henry Vassar played 37 minutes, right? That was the most of any. The only other person that played as much as he did was Seth Trimble with 36. Nobody else had over 32. Henry Vassar played 37 minutes of the game against Kansas. That, of course, when you get to the tournament, he's going to play a lot of minutes, but you're going to need a guy who can step in and give Henry Vassar some rest, right? I mean, you're gonna need guys who can step up that can play a decent amount of minutes, so the guys can get rest. And Zayden can be that guy. He's been compared to James Brown, has been much better, much better, right? Much better. However, he hasn't played in 2 years, so he's kind of wonky. He's kind of herky-jerky, and his footwork's kind of off and everything like that because he hasn't played in 2 years. But North Carolina would need him to step up, but then also needs of course, everyone needs to step up, right? Because Seth Trimble is not easy to replace, right? He's the leader. He's alongside Caleb Wilson, I would say he might be the most important player because of his leadership and the stuff he can do, from scoring the basketball to being a ball distributor to being on the glass. He's a really good rebounder. And of course, his defensive skill set, right? So you're going to need somebody to kind of step up to the plate and do some big stuff for North Carolina, right? The good thing is that you really, besides Michigan State, Kentucky, you don't really play anybody that's, you would say, elite. So if you're North Carolina, this is a great opportunity to kind of figure out your depth, I think if anything, that looks. I think as much as it sucks that Seth Trimble is not playing, I think this is the perfect time for North Carolina to figure out who you have, and I think that will pay dividends down the line when you start getting closer and closer to March. You know, the ACC tournament, the NCAA tournament, because this team's a tournament team. It will be hard for me to see this seed not be a tournament team. And also, when they do make the tournament, be lower than a fifth seed. That's how high I think of this team. And you will get to see really how great this team is down the non-conference schedule. Because if they beat either Kentucky or Michigan State without Seth Trimble, that's scary for the rest of the ACC and the rest of the country. Because if they do that, that kind of signals, hey, there's North Carolina is still North Carolina. They're not going away. Hubert's figured everything out. They're not going away. So I think with some big performances down the stretch through non-conference play up until Seth Trimble gets back will be huge for the Star Heel team moving forward. Not only from a performance standpoint, but also a confidence standpoint. That's going to wrap up today for the Tar Heels Insider Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Grant Chachere, and the lead beat writer for for North Carolina Tar Heels on the side. Of course, bringing you all the latest news in regards to your North Carolina Tar Heels day in and day out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Boom.